Never wonder why some people are just so drawn to cats, while other people, they need that constant tail-wagging affection from a dog. Well, it turns out there's some really fascinating psychology behind it. So today, let's get into the psychology of what it really means to be a cat person.
So when I say the phrase cat person, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Come on, be honest. It's probably that old stereotype, right? Someone kind of quiet, maybe a little bit of a loner. But what if that picture we all have in our heads is missing the most important part of the story?
And boom, here it is. This quote. This is the key to our entire explainer today. It's suggesting that loving cats isn't just about being an introvert. No, it points to something way deeper, a unique kind of comfort with being misunderstood. And that's not about wanting to be alone. It's about having a totally different kind of inner strength.
Okay, so where does that comfort come from? How do you get to a place where you're okay with being misunderstood? Well, it all comes down to what guides your sense of self. It's about being led by your own internal judgment, which means that need for other people's approval, it just starts to matter less.
Think of it like this. There are basically two ways we can navigate the world. On one side, you've got internal judgment. That's when your own values, your own gut feeling is your guide. And on the other side, you've got social approval, where you're always looking for that external thumbs up, that like or that pat on the back. They're like two totally different operating systems for your identity.
And here's the crucial part. For people who really truly connect with cats, that internal compass is the one that always points north. They've just learned, over time, to trust their own perspective, instead of being swayed by what everyone else thinks. So, how do cats fit into all this? Well, it turns out that the way cats are, their very nature, gives us this powerful daily lesson in how to think this way. It really all comes down to getting the feline mindset. And this brings us to a fantastic concept in psychology, distance tolerance. This is just a fancy way of saying you learn to understand that when a cat wants space, it's not personal, it's not rejecting you, it's just a cat being a cat, independent, doing its own thing. And wow, what a powerful lesson that is for any relationship, right? And you can see how this lesson plays out every single day. First, the cat decides its own boundaries. It wants space, on its own terms. Then you, the human, you learn to see that not as a rejection, but as something to respect. And the payoff? The affection you get back is earned. It's real. It's not just given because it's supposed to be, and that makes it so much more meaningful. So this daily practice of distance tolerance does something amazing. It builds up this much bigger, much more powerful psychological muscle. It helps you develop a trait called emotional autonomy. So what is emotional autonomy? It's basically a state of deep self-reliance. It means your happiness, your sense of self-worth, it's not hanging by a thread waiting for someone else's approval. It's an inner strength that you build up, and honestly, a relationship with a cat is the perfect training ground for it.
So, what does this actually look like in real life? Well, you'll see a few key things. You get comfortable with being misunderstood. See? Just like we said at the very beginning. You start to care more about a few deep connections than a ton of shallow attention. You really trust your own gut. And because of all that, what other people think, it just doesn't have the same power over you anymore. It all connects. So let's zoom out. What's the big takeaway here? This is about so much more than just whether you prefer cats or dogs. It actually points to a whole way of being in the world and, more importantly, a way of being with yourself.
Here's the bottom line. Loving a cat and really taking the time to understand them is a practical, hands-on lesson. It teaches you how to appreciate relationships that are not built on that need for constant praise. It's a connection that's all about respect and patience and just getting each other.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thought to chew on. Whether you're a cat person, a dog person, or neither, this idea is pretty powerful. What could we all stand to learn from that independent, earned affection that a cat offers? It's a question that might just make us look at all of our relationships a little bit differently.